Year after year, the Muson Festival has always been one to watch as the music enthusiasts try to go the extra mile to take the audience breath away. So it's always a pleasure to show you all these lovelies anytime it comes to town. I'm Melinda Akinlami. This is Art House. Inspire and train professional musicians. That has been the motivation for the brains behind the Muson Fiesta, with different events lined up to keep art lovers entertained, and they were certainly not disappointed. The Magic Flute is an opera in 2 acts by Wolfgang Mozart to a German libretto.
We are reinventing classical music, and Mozart is played in West Africa, what is the biggest surprise, very positive one for any classical music listener, because it's the refreshment of the classical world music.
So there's lots of singing and spoken dialogue.
A way to express our love for music and acting. I think operas integrate the acting and the music on one stage, and for those of us that love both, this is perfect.
Although it premiered in 1791 at a theatre in Vienna, Austria, it has found its way into the Nigerian soil. But has been touched up in some ways to suit the taste buds here.
This all started about 6 months ago. It's not easy actually to sing in German, but we're singing in German, you know, with Nigerian costumes and so on. It's really difficult, but from what we give our best. From frocks and dandy gowns to costumes that has the beauty and glamour of Africa written all over it. With a few still showing its origins.
This event is a very important point in the history of music, because the opera is performed in West Africa.
The opera is divided into 2 acts. The first scene opens. A handsome prince who is lost in a distant land and is being pursued by a serpent is introduced. He faints from fatigue and 3 ladies, attendants of the Queen of the Night, appear and kill the serpent. They find the unconscious prince extremely attractive and each try to convince the other to leave in order to be alone with him. After arguing, they decide it is best that they all leave together. To rescue a damsel in distress, the prince is given a magic flute to make his quest a little bit easier. The instrument, which can change the hearts of men, is also accompanied by other helping hands. The journey turns out to be much more than they bargained for, and they use all the tricks in the book to save the damsel, who had also fallen for the handsome heart of the prince. So much that when they lose contact during their escape, she threatens to commit suicide, but is reassured of his love and commitment.
This is the kind of music that we should encourage in Nigeria. The kind of music we currently encourage in Nigeria, that is very popular in Nigeria nowadays, are not music. It's not the kind of music that will last for longer than a generation. Opera has been around for, as you know, ages. So I think it's a good thing.
Give me your head, or you shall remain here forever, imprisoned.
Imprisoned?
Bread and water shall be your daily diet. You shall live without friends or sweethearts, and you shall renounce the world forever.
Renounce the world forever? Drink water? No. In that case, I'll take an old one rather than none at all. Well, here you have my hand, with the assurance that I shall always be true to you until I find someone. I swear it.
One spectacular thing I could pick out from what I've seen is the way they did it in the African style, let me put it that way. You know, we've been seeing it's a German opera anyway, and we don't really understand, but from the actions we can tell.
At the end, all that is well ends well. Wow, need I say more? And if you thought that was exciting, you better keep your eyes glued to your TV sets, because that's just the tip of the iceberg. When Art House returns,
this year we're focusing exclusively on Nigerian jazz artists.
so join us again.
Don't be left in the dark. Be the first to know. Get the latest news and developing stories anytime, anywhere, on your mobile device. Log on to m.channelstv.com and click on the Channels TV logo. Channels Television, the news at your fingertips.
The Shell Hall of the Muson Center, Lagos, on Saturday, October 20th, once again came alive with the live performances of Nigeria's finest jazz musicians at this edition of the annual Muson Jazz Festival. Various percussion instruments combined with deft notes from string and wind instruments to form the classic African symphonies that characterize the Muson Jazz Festival. According to the sponsors of this event, the Muson Jazz Festival is aimed at celebrating the best Nigerian jazz artists across the world.
We have to develop the talent that is in Nigeria. There is a lot of musical talent in this country, and I'm glad to be a part of developing that musical talent in this country.
And with the headliners including South Africa-based Nigerian jazz artist Dakpo Dino and guitarist Mike Ebere, the quality of this year's edition can be said to have measured up to the hype accorded it.
It's quite interesting that someone is thinking in that direction of jazz, because I think jazz has suffered for too long, and we have so many other people thinking about hip-hop, other genres of music, but it's quite interesting to see someone taking jazz to the next level. I think it's quite commendable.
The Muson Jazz Festival is an annual jazz fiesta which had been featured previously by veterans Victor Olaiya and Victor Waifo.
It has become a yearly tradition for the Musical Society of Nigeria, Muson, to hold its annual Muson Festival, and this year it's not different. And as the preparation for the 2012 edition gathers momentum, looking at the posters says it all. Several artistic and cultural offerings lined up to make this edition memorable.
We have a series of 7 different programs starting on a kind of music. That's a program where we invite 4 distinguished Nigerians, put them on stage, and we interview them, and they talk about their musical choices, and we play each of those choices to a live audience.
From its dream of being a reputable haven for classical music, Muson Center has over the years expanded to accommodate events and projects that showcases and celebrates Nigerian art and culture, as will be witnessed in the forthcoming festival that has something for everyone.
This year we're focusing exclusively on Nigerian jazz artists, be they resident in Nigeria or outside. We're featuring people like Dakpo Dino, who lives in Germany, Agbola Shadari, who lives in the United States, and Mike Ebere, who lives in South Africa. They'll be coming into the country for this program. And then alongside that, we also have some home-based jazz artists, people like Sax T and Imole Africa.
While music remains top on the lineup of events, drama lovers have a date with top Nigerian actors when Seifi Atta's new play, An Ordinary Legacy, will be staged.
It's a commentary on some aspects of Nigerian life today, so people will see themselves in the drama. It promises to be pretty exciting.
The Muson Festival is not only aimed at entertaining, but also to promote music and musicians in Nigeria.
And that's really a cool idea if you ask me. One we'll definitely love to see more of. All right, coming up in a moment. The Brandler Youth Concert is a solo competition for young minds between the ages of 14 and 21. After a rigorous screening process, a handful of vocalists and instrumentalists are set to dazzle the audience. After this beautiful piano play by this young lad, it's the turn of another to make an even better impression. He's also accompanied by some piano playing as well. We enjoy more chord, wind and strings. Then it's time to be serenaded by sonorous voices. For competitions like this, it's not really about who wins or loses. What's important is that these young minds are taking a joint stride to what could become a lifetime of professional classical music. The tales of the 2012 edition of the annual Muson Festival moved a notch higher as it took music lovers on a musical journey through Europe. After treating guests to jazz and classical tunes in the preceding days, it was now time for them to get a feel of some typical European sounds. Proceedings was opened by the Muson School's artistic director, Thomas Konitz, who lays the strings with mild keys from the grand piano.
Muson Day concert called Africa Meets Europe. At this time I decided to make a musical round trip through Europe. So from every country in Europe, almost every country, I played some special piece. The reception at Muson with my students was fantastic, was wonderful. It's a little bit strange for a European to come to Nigeria. Life is something different, but I get used to it and I like it.
Then Scottish bagpiper Norman MacLeod shared some of his native traditional folklore mixed with some Nigerian tunes.
The Muson Day this year in 2012 decided to have a theme of music around Europe. And I play the Scottish Highland bagpipe from Scotland, which is part of the UK. And so I was asked if I would perhaps finish the tour of Europe and if I could bring everyone back to Lagos and to Nigeria. And so that's why after my Scottish songs I played a couple of Nigerian folk songs to bring us back to where we really are. Well, I've been here for several years and I've been working with Nigerian folk songs for quite some time. In fact, I've recorded a number of such songs and I have recordings on the radio and on television from time to time. So it's not something new for me. I've been doing it for about 5 years now or more. But it takes a little while because the timing and the style of Nigerian folk songs is a little different to the standard European type. It's a pentatonic scale and it's a more of a rhythmic type of song. So it does take a little bit of adaptation.
The evening closed with Muson handing out recognition awards to its major supporters.
There's so much energy on the art scene right now, and I can just feel it. You'll be feeling it too, but I'll have to save some of it for next week. But let me whet your appetite a bit. So we'll surf the art waves together. Till then, be good and keep making a difference. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Bye-bye.